Shall we begin?
Why would a good God allow suffering to exist? Does God really exist?
Let's begin now.
Why did God command the deaths of so many people in the Bible? Why does God remain so hidden? I'm here with Dr. Tony Costa, who is a New Testament scholar and apologist. We're making this video in response to Hopsin's Ill Mind of Hopsin 7, where he vents his frustration towards God. Hopsin alludes to saying, how do you know Jesus even exists? Is there any evidence that we have? Because this argument seems as if it keeps going on, the existence of Jesus Christ.
Well, yes, very much so. The question of the existence of Jesus is not taken, it's not questioned in academia. Academics from atheists to agnostics to theists all believe that Jesus of Nazareth existed. In fact, one of the most liberal, radical critics of the Christian faith, Dr. Bart Ehrman, actually wrote a book entitled Did Jesus Exist? Mm-hmm. And in this book, he actually lambasts all of the Christ mythers. There's a movement called the Christ myth movement that is basically internet snipers, I call them, that write blog articles that Jesus never existed because we just can't trust the New Testament. We can't trust what the Greco-Roman writers wrote about him and so forth. And there's a movie that was put out called Zeitgeist, yes, that tried to say that Christianity was a copycat from Egyptian religion and Assyrian and Babylonian religion and Mithraism. All of these things have been repudiated by scholarship. And so to even question the existence of Jesus is laughable because we have so much evidence for Jesus, more so than for Julius Caesar. No one questions the existence of Julius Caesar. No one questions the existence of Alexander the Great. Mm-hmm. How do we know Jesus existed? We've got not only the New Testament documents, we have the Roman writers, Suetonius, Tacitus. These were men who were historians of Rome, who wrote about the annals of Roman history, who wrote about the senators and the government. Suetonius mentions Jesus. Tacitus mentions Jesus. The Jewish historian Josephus, first century historian, mentions Jesus. The Babylonian Talmud, which would be really, if you consider it, it'd be actually an opposing text. It acknowledges Jesus of Nazareth. And so the idea that Jesus never existed, I think the answer to that is really a spiritual reaction. And what does that mean? If Jesus really did exist, which he did, and if Jesus really claimed to be who he said he was, the Son of God, then the ramifications of those claims are gigantic. Okay. They're massive. And what that means is, if Jesus is the Son of God, then that means that we are going to be accountable for what we do with him. And if he is the judge of all the earth, then he's the one that we're going to face one day. Oh. And so by diminishing his existence, by getting rid of him, we get rid of this morality question, the question of moral accountability towards God. So if God doesn't exist, then we can do whatever we wish because there's no longer any accountability. So if Jesus isn't who he said he was, then Jesus cannot be my judge. He cannot be the one who will hold me accountable and so forth. I think it's more of a spiritual issue here, undergirding this question.